Have you ever wondered what it would be like to raise a wild animal as your own child? This is the extraordinary tale of Daniel Harris, a wildlife photographer whose life took an unexpected turn deep in the heart of the wilderness. The sun was sinking behind the hills when Daniel Harris, a solitary traveler and wildlife photographer, trudged along the narrow trail cutting through the thick forest. His boots crunched on the dry leaves and his camera swung gently from his neck. He had spent weeks capturing the wilderness sunsets, flocks of birds, the cautious gazes of deer. Yet he longed for something different, something rare. That evening, he got more than he could ever have imagined. As he adjusted his backpack, a faint sound drifted through the stillness. First he thought it was the wind, or maybe the distant call of a bird. But then it came again, weak, desperate, like the cry of an infant. He froze. Every instinct in him, honed from years of photographing wildlife, told him to listen. He pushed through the tall grass, heart pounding, until he saw it. A tiny spotted form, no bigger than a house cat, lay trembling in the fading light. Its fur was golden with dark rosettes, its eyes shut tight as it whimpered. A leopard cub, alone. Daniel dropped to his knees. The cub's side rose and fell in shallow breaths, and a thin streak of blood stained its hind leg. He knew enough about predators to realize how unlikely this was. Such young animals were never far from their mothers. And if the cub was alone, something had gone terribly wrong. "Hi there, little one," Daniel whispered, his voice gentle as the wind stirred the grass. "It's okay. Not here to hurt you." The cub whimpered again, too weak to resist when Daniel scooped it into his arms. Daniel carried the cub back to his campsite. His hands shook, though not from fear. The tiny body in his arms radiated warmth and fragility, reminding him of when he had first held his niece as a newborn. At the tent, he set the cub down carefully on a folded blanket. The wound on its leg wasn't deep but needed cleaning. Daniel boiled water, cooled it, and gently dabbed the injury. The cub cried softly, mouth opening in protest, but soon it stilled, as if sensing the man meant no harm. "There you go," Daniel murmured. "I've got you." He fed it with a small water bottle cap, letting droplets of water touch its tongue. The cub lapped weakly. His chest ached with a surge of protectiveness he hadn't expected. That night, he barely slept. Every rustle outside made him tense, half expecting the cub's mother to appear, furious at finding her baby in human hands. But the forest remained silent, and the cub nestled closer to him, small chest rising steadily with each breath. Over the next days, Daniel became something he never thought possible, a father figure to a leopard. He named the cub Kaya, meaning little resting place, in a language he had once heard during his travels. Kaya followed him everywhere within the campsite, stumbling on unsteady paws, eyes now wide and curious. Daniel fed him milk from a bottle fashioned out of a plastic flask, warmed gently over the fire. Kaya would cling to his gloves with tiny claws, purring faintly as he drank. Every day, Daniel told himself this was temporary, that he would find help locate a wildlife sanctuary or perhaps even spot signs of Kaya's mother. But days turned into weeks, and no leopard appeared. Instead, something else happened. When Daniel walked, Kaya trotted behind, tripping over roots but always determined to keep up. At night, when the forest grew cold, Kaya curled against his chest, his warmth seeping into Daniel's bones. For the first time in years, Daniel didn't feel alone. Word spread in the nearby village that a foreigner had been seen carrying a leopard cub. Some villagers were wary. Others admired the courage or foolishness of caring for a predator. One evening, as Daniel bought supplies, an elder approached him. "Animals of the wild belong to the wild," she warned. "Your heart may be kind, but one day, kindness will not be enough. Leopards grow teeth." Daniel nodded. He knew she was right. But as he glanced at Kaya, who waited in the basket by his side, he felt torn. The cub blinked up at him with eyes full of trust. Could he abandon that? Daniel began to teach Kaya the skills of survival. He encouraged the cub to stalk small moving objects, sticks dragged through grass. Fluttering leaves so his instincts sharpened. Kaya pounced with delight, rolling clumsily, but learning each time. He climbed low branches, his spots blending into dappled sunlight, while Daniel watched with a mix of pride and dread. The cub was growing stronger. One day, Daniel knew, the forest would call him back fully. But for now, Kaya was still his child, his shadow. Da. One stormy night, as rain lashed the canvas of the tent, Daniel heard Kaya's panicked cries. The cub had stumbled too close to the fire and singed a few hairs on his paw. Daniel rushed to him, cradling the trembling body in his arms. "It's okay, Kaya," he soothed, rocking him gently. The cub buried his face against Daniel's chest, small body shaking. In that moment, Daniel realized the depth of his attachment. This wasn't just an animal he had rescued. This was family. Weeks turned into months. Kaya grew larger, stronger. His paws were no longer small and clumsy, but powerful, his muscles rippling under spotted fur. Though still young, he was unmistakably a predator now. Daniel faced the truth he had been avoiding. Kaya could not stay with him forever. Leopards were solitary, wild. To confine him would be cruelty. To keep him would be selfishness. Tears stung his eyes as he wrote a letter to the nearest wildlife sanctuary. He explained everything: how he had found Kaya, how he had raised him, how he loved him. But love, he wrote, must sometimes let go. The day arrived when rangers came to take Kaya to the sanctuary. Daniel held him one last time, the cub, now nearly too heavy for his arms. Kaya squirmed, confused, letting out a low growl. Daniel whispered, pressing his forehead to Kaya's. "This isn't the end. You're going where you belong. Strong, free, alive." Kaya licked his chin just once before the rangers led him away. Daniel watched until the spotted coat disappeared into the forest. His arms felt empty, his chest hollow, but beneath the ache was pride. He had given Kaya a chance at life. Months later, Daniel received a photograph from the sanctuary. Kaya stood tall in the enclosure, sleek and strong, eyes bright with the wild spirit he was born for. Daniel traced the image with his fingers, a bittersweet smile on his face. He was no longer Kaya's caretaker, but in his heart, he would always be his father. And somewhere deep in the forest, Daniel believed, Kaya still remembered the man who had held him when he was weak, who had fed him when he was hungry, who had loved him like a son.